power, our LSU. Boom!
All night long. Yes.
Let's freaking go. We have 3 weeks from the start of the season. Yes, we are playing on a Sunday. It's going to be fantastic. Today, we're going to talk about, for the first time in a live stream, the 5th highest ranked wide receiver ever committed to LSU. I didn't say that right. That is LSU's 5th highest ranked wide receiver that they have ever gotten, and that is DAKORIEN Moore. We're going to talk about him today. We're also going to talk about the potential of Bryce Underwood committing to LSU, okay? He is also a 5-star in the class of 2025, and he would be the highest ranked quarterback and the 2nd highest ranked recruit that LSU has ever landed. So we're going to talk about that because it is so hot. But I also just want to talk about actual football, right? Recruiting could get very old, but when it's really good news, I want to share it with you. However, I want to start off with a very interesting story that is developing right now at LSU camp, because a lot of you are of the belief that Louisiana breeds 3-star excellent. They are 3-star U. They even did a study on this in The Athletic. LSU is amongst the country's elites when it comes to 3 stars going to the NFL. And the one name that has done more for himself, more than anybody else on this team, as a true freshman, is Ashton Stamps. Could we be in a scenario where he is starting by the end of the season? I don't think so, but it is very well within the realm of possibility. Okay, I'm looking at each and every one of you. We're going to get to every single one of your comments tonight. Don't forget, type Y for yes, type Inferno in the comment section down below. Do you truly believe Ashton Stamps could be a starter? Okay. Matt House was talking about him earlier in the week, that this was a guy who came to camp not once, not twice, but 3 times to earn the LSU offer. He was also a guy who trains at DPT NOLA, which is a very famous New Orleans training facility. I think they've actually used one of my videos for some content before. And Devonta Smith is trained there. A lot of legends have trained there, okay? And look, it would take a lot for Brian Kelly to say, hey, let's start a true freshman corner. But it's also not something that is truly unprecedented, right? LSU has started a lot of true freshman defensive backs, a lot over the past decade. So it's not just Ashton Stamps, it's JV and Toviano. And if we all know that the LSU defensive back room has had its issues, why not roll out there a true freshman? Why not? Okay, so what I want to show you is a tweet that I shared earlier in the season. Okay, this is him doing one-on-ones with Justin Jefferson. Okay, so this is Ashton Stamps. Once again, I know the image isn't the absolute cleanest here, but that's him going up against, obviously, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, right? Obviously, a really good experience, okay? And some pretty decent coverage right there, all things considered. So, obviously, getting this opportunity was something pretty big for him. Now, as we always like to do, I am not one of those guys that's going to sit here and tell you this guy deserves to play or that guy deserves to play as a true freshman unless I didn't. I forgot I muted the video. I apologize. But truth be told, I feel as if Ashton Stamps is a guy that could play right away. I think he could. Okay. No, I accidentally muted the thing because it went up. I'm sorry about that. But truth be told, there he was right there going up against Justin Jefferson with some abso-freaking-lutely awesome coverage. Okay. Now, one of those plays he did get beat, but that's obviously something that we want. Now, is he somebody that can truly start year one? Is he? I don't know. For me, it's a bit of a stretch. The guys that had year one grades, our patrons know who all those players are. That's part of the reason why you should join the PHL Patreon. But for me, I did like him. I grew on him, right? And now I'm all in if the coaching staff feels that he is truly ready to go. And it's not just the coaches. It is the reporters who are at practice who are saying that this guy is lighting it up. So we shall see what happens. Now, what I want you to do is in the comment section right now is let me know how you feel about Ashton Stamps. Do you feel comfortable with him playing at a very difficult position year one? Okay. Now, second thing I want to mention about Ashton Stamps is, yes, there have been a lot of true freshman defensive backs at LSU that have played right away. Most of them, though, were the elites of the elites. Okay. They were top 100 players. 3 stars. I think Jalen Mills was a 3-star, and he played right away and started. So, yeah, this would be pretty unprecedented because Ashton Stamps was a very lowly rated recruit. So I love it. Absolutely love it. It may have been prophetic that he had these Justin Jefferson reps because he might be the next lower star overlooked recruit that gets the opportunity to play at the Division I Power 5 level quickly. Okay. So I will say this. I hope it's not against Florida State. That is not a game that you want a true freshman defensive back starting. But if he is the best option, let's go. Let's go. So congrats, Ashton Stamps, even getting to this point, right? And earning that LSU offer and working his way up the ladder. So next thing, all right, is we say hi to Skipper. We say hi to Tyler. If we say hi to Joshua, I think LA Mom was the first person in here tonight. LA Mom or Joshua, either one of those two. Let's see. Jason, good to see you as well. Now, we might get to this a little bit later if you guys want to. I was inspired. Now, look, all college football teams release content that inspires somebody. But sometimes inspirational speeches can be vague, right? If you have the right music and the right setting, I feel a lot of people can give a good inspirational speech, okay? But my favorite ones are the ones that do add specificity, that tell you little things that you could do to become the best you, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys saw this or not today, and I hope you did, because Corey Webster went to LSU's practice, and Robert Steeples had him speak to the defensive back room. LSU posted the clip, and it was really that good. And I might have to play it right now because I know a lot of you are dying to see it. So here's what we're going to do. This is my last Corey Webster auto. We will give this out as we always do. If we hit $100 in Super Chats tonight, we will give out my final Corey Webster autograph card right here. Don't forget, this is a guy who made the game-winning play versus Randy Moss in the Super Bowl for the Patriots to win the helmet catch game. A lot of people don't remember that play, and Corey Webster was right there. Very underrated LSU all-time defensive back. So we will get to that video a little bit later. I promise you that. Now, But if we get to 100 super chats, we'll give that out tonight. It's my last Corey Webster. I liked him a lot. Of course, I say that about every player. So we go to Black Goatee. My dear beloved Blake. So I'll touch on this really quickly. So so Blake called me about 30 minutes after the commitment. So for those that don't know, I'm on AYS every Monday at 7:30. And Blake obviously is just a good friend of mine now. So even outside LSU football. So this was a big opportunity for him. So he packed up all his gear from South Louisiana. He drives up to Dallas. And this is nerve-wracking, right? Because you're taking all the equipment. The kid obviously picked you to do the announcement ceremony. It's nervous. You got to be so many different things that can go wrong. Okay? So many different things. And I hated that it ended that way. Now, I talked to him about it, and I thought the clip was great. It was funny. It shows you that anybody can be left hanging at any time. And Blake quickly fixed it. I've never seen someone fix a quit hanging moment quite like that one. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful that happened. So big shout out to Blake. Really happy for him. And hopefully, this lends itself to more 5 stars. Now, Black OT did decide to super chat about DAKORIEN more. I will share one final thing about him. Okay. I do like him a lot. I do feel the 5-star rating is what it is. Okay. I think it's correct. Now, I saw someone comment a little bit earlier. It's so early in the process, and he can decommit from now until then. You're thinking too small if you truly believe that. Because no duh. Anybody can decommit in the next gazillion years. But that's the issue with college football recruiting, is the leverage battle. The kid has all the power in the recruitment, right? So if he wants to commit now, and he is a difference maker, you do whatever you can to get him. Okay? There's not going to be players that much higher on their board than DAKORIEN Moore. And you just can't quit recruiting 5 stars just for the sake of it, especially one in close proximity, especially one who we now know isn't just coming to LSU just to come to LSU. All right? DAKORIEN Moore came to LSU because he idolized Odell Beckham Jr. I think his mother said he had been wanting to go to LSU since he was 9. So if that's the case, you got to take him, right? And that's a good thing. Also, kids are recruiting and committing early. Now, I thought that was something that would not happen. This was something we discussed in the Patreon voice channel not too long ago. Me and Skipper did. Okay. The truth is, I don't know why you would commit so early, because you do lose some leverage. But if you want to commit early and you really want to go to LSU, take it, right? Also, if you are not thinking about Bryce Underwood right now, you're crazy. Abso-freaking-lutely crazy. Okay? Chili, I see your super chat here. Am I hearing Wardell Mack to Texas? I hope he picks LSU. Obviously, I want all top DBs to go to LSU. About, let me see, in the last year. Yeah, about the last year. I spoke to the father of a player who went out of state instead of picking LSU. Okay, and he was a relatively high-ranked prospect, and LSU wanted him. Sometimes kids just want to go, and you can't do anything about it. I mean, LSU couldn't have been any closer to the Osbury twins. Sometimes they want to go somewhere else. So if Wardell Mack wants to go somewhere else, I am for it. You do whatever you feel like it's best for you. But I would say LSU does have a really good cornerback class lined up already for this year. And that doesn't mean they don't need to stop recruiting Wardell Mack. And that doesn't mean he's not going to eventually pick LSU. I think he will. But we're in a little bit of a better spot if we were to lose him than if we were to lose Dominic McKinley, if that makes sense. Okay? So, not too worried about it, especially if you think Kai Bates can play. If you think Kai Bates and Andre Evans are good football players, then this really shouldn't be that big of a worry for you. Now, next thing here, all right, as far as the DAKORIEN Moore stuff, I truly do believe, as far as the Bryce Underwood story, okay, obviously I did the video yesterday. I got people saying, well, he's going to pick Michigan. Well, yeah, he's in Michigan. So that's what everyone's going to predict. But the opposite could be true. The same logic that applies to Wardell Mack can apply to Bryce Underwood. You go to Michigan, be very successful there. He probably would be very successful there. But I know for sure he'd be successful in LSU. I know for sure. Now, why is that important? Well, apparently DAKORIEN Moore and Bryce Underwood have a relationship. Now, I won't go too deep into all of that because one of my most popular videos was on the DAKORIEN Moore commitment yesterday. And you can go watch it, and I share the relationship that those two have. I don't know how deep it goes, but apparently there is one. And once again, he would be the 8th. Well, he is. It's not he will be. He is the 8th highest ranked quarterback prospect ever. He is slightly ahead of Bryce Young. Now, think about that. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be Bryce Young. They are completely different types of players as well. But could you imagine Bryce Young QB level play at LSU again? That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. Let's go to Carson. Thank you for the generous super chat, Carson. Hope our offense is explosive enough to intrigue the top prospects. The 2019 offense was the sole reason Eric committed. He didn't work out, but you get the point. Yeah, absolutely. Eric Gilbert is the type of prospect we want at LSU. 5-star, can't miss, 35 catches first year. Now, you didn't know that there was everything you had to deal with off the field. But the first thing here is you want a really, really, really good player to come to your school. The second thing, Carson, is the offense is sellable in and of itself. Now, was the LSU offense clunky at times last year? Yeah. Sometimes Jaden Daniels put some makeup on our offense to make it look a little bit better than it was. And I felt like Jaden did a really good job of masking some of our deficiencies, some of which were in pass protection, some of which were in play design, and his legs were able to get us out of it. But it is those are the types of players that we want to get. We want to get those elite kinds of prospects. We do. We do. So, yeah, you want a product on the field to be sold to recruits. You do. And Kevin follows up, you can get that type of quarterback play this year with Jaden. Jaden was really good last year. But my point was to the Bryce Underwood thing is the quarterback evaluation has gotten better by 247 and on 3. Now, I have had some stark disagreements with who they have number 1 overall multiple times in recent years. I don't think Quinn Ewers is that great, and I did not think Arch Manning was the number one guy. I still think Arch Manning is pretty solid. I did not think he was the consensus number one guy. I do think that with Bryce Underwood, and I'm not just saying that because he's potentially coming to LSU. He's really good. But I'm telling you right now, the quarterback and just recruiting evaluation in and of itself has gotten way better. Okay? Now, but Carson, a follow-up here, and I really appreciate your generosity. The 2019 offense was the sole reason Eric committed. That's true. 90% of the reason. Absolutely. But I totally agree with you on this. Now, I'm going to get into a few more current topics here. But if you want to talk recruiting, feel free to super chat. We'll get back on it. Okay? Now, next thing I want to bring up, as far as LSU is concerned, going into next season, do I truly feel LSU is in a position where they can lose to Florida State and still be in the college football playoff? And the answer is unequivocally yes. Unequivocally yes. I saw something very interesting. A writer who I respect quite a bit, his name is Barrett Salih. He writes for CBSSports.com. I've known Barrett a long time. Pre-CBSSports.com days, Barrett Salih. And I looked at his over-under predictions for the SEC, and he had LSU as an 11-1 team, but their only loss being to Florida State. That is very plausible. But I would also say this. LSU could lose another game and still get into the college football playoff because they were in that same exact spot last year. If they would have beaten Texas A&M and if they would have beaten Georgia, they're probably getting in. So I do think there is some room for error with how difficult their schedule actually is. Now, do I want them to lose 2 games? No, I don't. I want them to go undefeated. But the most likely scenario would be for them to get into the playoff with an 11-1 record. Okay? So I truly do believe that it is within the realm that LSU could very well drop just 1 game, and that game be Florida State, and they run the table. Okay? It's very plausible. Now, the reason why I share this is because we need to be rational here. Florida State just happens to have their best team since probably 2013, 2014, the Jameis years. So if we get in a shootout and we lose to them, let's just win out, baby. Let's just win out. Let's just roll the table. Okay? Now I see Harold Perkins has started some discourse here. That's perfectly fine as well. What's up, D-Pain? Good to see you. Okay. Blaine wants to talk Perkins at inside linebacker. Okay. All right. It's not so simple to say that. And here's why. Okay. And Blaine, I appreciate you. College football is more than just pass rushing and third down, third and long, they're in a bad spot. You also have to defend the run, okay? Harold Perkins' build is better fit for an off-ball linebacker position where he is defending the run, okay? He is not a hold the edge kind of player. That doesn't really fit his skill set. Okay. Where you have to engage with a person on almost every single snap. Now, he probably could turn himself into something like that, but that's either not what he wants to do, but it's also not what Matt House wants him to do. Okay. LSU was pretty lengthy on the record saying that sometimes they didn't know the best way to use him. Sometimes they didn't feel comfortable using him because they didn't want to put him in the spots where they didn't want him to feel uncomfortable. Okay? So the simple truth is I do feel he's still going to rush the passer on 3rd and long. I don't think LSU would be silly enough to not use what was the biggest difference between the start of our season and the end of the season was the emergence of him. I don't think that they're going to take that out of his arsenal. But if you want him to be on the field every single rep, the standing jack position is probably not where he feels most comfortable. Now, could he do it? Yeah. And could I see the logic? Yeah, absolutely. But, there's some things that Brian Kelly and the LSU staff does I disagree with. This is actually one of the many times I do agree with them. I think this is where he should be playing. All right. So there you go. Now, next thing. And right after this, I'm going to give you one stat, just one, where you should feel a little bit better about LSU going up against Jordan Travis. But if you want to support me, if you like this content, this is a great way to support. PowerHourLSU.com/shop. Once again, that's PowerHourLSU.com/shop. It's shirts for you and the whole fam. You got tumblers, coffee mugs. The coffee mug has not been a hit at all. I don't think anyone's got a mug yet, which makes me feel kind of depressing. I'm like, God, everybody drinks coffee every single morning. PowerHourLSU.com/shop. And I have a feeling Blaine, with his backwards LSU hat, is going to get him a shirt right now. But here's a good thing. Okay? Here's a really good thing. If you get yourself right now 4 shirts for you and the whole fam, what I want to give out. Let's give this out right here. 4 shirts for you and the whole fam. I'm giving you this Derek Stingley 1-of-1 autograph card right here. Okay? This is a big one. You see the 1-of-1 right there. The only copy of this in existence right here. If you get 4 shirts, I'm sending it to you, baby. PowerHourLSU.com. Okay? Dang, James is just crapping on the mugs. What's up, John? Good to see you, everybody. Welcome, John, to the channel. Jalen Smith, that actually is a pretty... Didn't he just sign with the Saints? Jalen Smith, he played for the Giants, played for the Cowboys, got paid by the Cowboys. Ellie, good to see you. Most underrated player on the team. Oh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go BTJ. Why not? All right, let's go to Carson Super Chat. Carson, I appreciate your generosity right off the jump here. I agree with Blaine. The turnovers he's forced from the outside are so valuable. Will he be able to force the same amount from the inside? He took over games from that spot. I hope it works. Okay, so heard Matt House talk about in the press conference that he did this weekend, the ability to force turnovers, right? That's something LSU wants to do a better job of because they didn't force a gajillion of them. They did have some really timely ones, right? The Bryce Young turnover to start the game. Obviously, the biggest one of the season very well could have been the BJ Ojulari strip sack that really got us going in that Auburn game. I got to be real here. Do I feel Harold Perkins is in the right spot as the inside linebacker? I'm going to double down and say yes, I do. I feel he is good enough to read the game from that spot. I do feel that there will be some growing pains there because I do feel middle linebacker compared to Jack is a far more cerebral position. There's more responsibilities in getting people aligned and all of that. But it helps when you're playing alongside a guy who has started 4 years and Omar Spates. Okay. It helps. You're going to be beside Greg Penn, who has played in Matt House's system, and he's been a contributor for us for 2 years now. And he's entering his third season, so we should be entering the Greg Penn prime years. So the growing pains should be expedited because he's not playing next to people who are also playing for the first time. Now, he took over games from the Jack linebacker position. Kind of, sort of true. So LSU was so multiple last year defensively, and every defensive coordinator says we're multiple, but LSU really was. And one thing that they were able to do is play Harold Perkins at what we consider now the nickel position because so many teams base out of nickel now. But it was essentially an outside linebacker spot. And LSU was able to do so many things with him because of his versatility, right? So I feel like a lot of you want him to stay on the outside, and I get that. But I'm telling you, I think it's going to work just fine where he is. I also think that is a position you can still rush him out of in third down situations. So I feel pretty good about Harold Perkins being right there. And I'm not just going to say that just to appease you. Now, when it comes to game effectiveness, yes, there is far more upside in having the elite pass rusher over the off-ball linebacker, but that also varies to how good you are at both of those spots. Now, what I think could happen, I think Ovie Oghoufo is going to be a really solid player for us. I do. I do think after him, though, you have Jackson Howard, who is a true freshman, and Braden Swinson, who has played a lot of football at Oregon, but he was kind of a backup, right? Ovie Oghoufo has played more, and he's entering year 5, so he is, kind of in the athletic prime of his career. I feel like Perk could be a Jack that they play some. Also, we could be living in a world where Deshaun Womack takes over the Jack role. So it should be very, very, very interesting. Bless says he feels Harold Perkins will have more of an impact this year. There you go. Okay, let's go to BT. Oh, it definitely helps out. Definitely helps out. I also think BK learned a lot from last year because that was definitely one of the games that he would like to have back more than any other, right? So, yeah, I feel pretty good about him in this matchup. And another year going up against Jordan Travis. He's obviously very familiar with him, okay? LD88, thanks for all the support you give me. Latest point spread I saw is LSU minus 2.5. Has anyone seen anything different? Yeah, I see LSU as a slight favorite. That's about where we were favored going into the game last year. Okay. LSU will be favored in every game they play outside of the Alabama game this year. Now, of course, that's if LSU is good this year. Now, if they're not good this year, then they won't be favored in every game that they play this year. But more than likely they will be good. And more than likely the only game they'll be underdogs in is the Alabama game. Okay? Yeah, they did that last year. Okay? They did that last year with B.J. Ojolari, rushing him out of 3-tech. So that was actually a huge part of the LSU defense last year. Now, here's what I want to do. Where do I want to go next? I got a few different topics I want to get into tonight. Feels good not just talking about quarterbacks. It's kind of crazy that it's kind of crazy that we haven't talked a whole lot about quarterbacks. But I do want to chat about it just briefly here. Just briefly. I want to chat a little bit about Garrett Nussmeier. I do. I felt, just based on the practice reports, speaking to people that went to the practice, that Jaden has had the slightly better camp than Garrett up to this point. Okay. I still feel so much better about Garrett going into this year than I did last year. Okay. I do also feel, and I truly do mean this, okay, because look, I'm one of the people that did very honest breakdowns of Jaden Daniels and his play last year. Okay. Very honest. And there were some real lowlights. But just based on everything that I've heard up to this point, it looks as if this is going to be a pretty big year from him. Okay. And I truly do think it's going to be great to see. I truly do. I also feel good about Garrett Nussmeier as a backup. I do. Now, the next thing would be, how much Garrett do we even see this season? We'll see. Jaden Daniels is first-team preseason SEC quarterback. Y'all still talking about Nuss? What's wrong with talking about Garrett Nussmeier? I've never understood this. Why? Like you can't mention either one of them. That's why I should never even said anything. I should just be the unique quarterback-free channel. But I share stuff that I hear, stuff that I see just in the practice clips that are released. I've been sent clips of Jaden Daniels working out all off season. So I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a magical year for him. I do. Go to John. Follows up here. I agree with Blaine too. I also think Coach House knows what he's doing. Also know Coach House didn't think Harold Perkins was a fit versus Tennessee. Okay, so just cautious that he can be schemed easier in the middle. Yeah, John, I actually think the opposite is actually true. I think it's easier to scheme for somebody that plays the jack. I do. Because, you know, what you can do with that is, just based on your alignment, you can see by the rules that the defense plays with that Harold Perkins will be on one side of the line of scrimmage or the other. Okay. And you could just run right at him. I feel like if you're an off-ball linebacker, it's a little bit harder to just flat out scheme for somebody. But here's the thing, John. One thing I think could be a challenge for Harold Perkins is coverage, right? It's just sinking back into coverage, because instinctually on passing situations, you're so used to, just getting after the quarterback. It is kind of different sinking back into coverage and defending the pass. So that is something to worry about. It is. But I do feel I do feel that's where Harold Perkins' best position is as an off-ball linebacker. But I do agree with you. The Tennessee thing is very was a low light. Okay. Yeah, James Owens disagreeing with you there. Nobody. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. I was just sharing what I'm hearing in practice. And I don't always have the most rosy practice reports here. Let's see. Brian thinks one area of the field we're going to dominate is on the line of scrimmage. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? Maybe favored versus Alabama. It's true. They're losing to Texas week 2. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, since I don't want to go on a quarterback anymore, I heard one of you guys bring up the Mason Smith thing. Okay. I actually got a card in the mail from a viewer, Eric. I'll show you this. My first Mason Smith gold card. We're definitely going to give this out during the season. This gold Mason Smith card, number to 50. Obviously, Mason's one of my favorite players. 13 out of 50. That's good. We have some people close to Mason that watch the channel. Love to meet him, too. But yeah, Mason obviously has a chance to do some really special things this next year. But someone brought up that Mason Smith had a minor hiccup earlier this week. I'm here to tell you it's not a big deal. It was something minor, and I think out of anyone on the team, you should be the most cautious of a man of that size recovering from an ACL. Okay? So, breathe in, breathe out. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right? 337 Bo, it's good. It's been a while since I've seen you. Good to see you. But yes, it was minor. He's okay. All right. Now, I do want to chat about the team. I feel as if we're in a position next season. I'm looking at you. It doesn't matter who you are. All right. I want you to feel like you are watching something truly special next year. And the only way you could do that is winning, right? But when you watch something special, you're also watching a team that dominates, right? I think a lot of you know with the eye test that you can tell if a team is truly going out there and just surviving by the hairs on your chins. Okay? Or if you're going out there and putting your foot on their throats. All right? I want to see more of the latter than the former. We've got to get out there next year and dominate some teams. championship teams historically go out there and beat the brakes off of solid teams. Now, some games are going to be closer than others. But I did feel last season that there were a lot of games where we just had to kind of scrape it out and find a way to win. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, look, a win is a win is a win is a win. Now, what I would say, I feel as if LSU is going to do that more to really solid teams next season, right? Next year versus Mississippi State, it won't feel like the game that we played last year. I feel like we can go to Starkville with the team that we have and just really, really beat them down. Okay? I feel like we could do that in a lot more games this next year. And if you see that, that's the sign of a team that can really go win it all. And historically, that has been proven to be true. Okay, so hopefully next season, you will see this offense hit on all cylinders and just get after it, baby. Just pound them into the freaking dirt. Let's go. So I just want you to remember that, because I feel as if this team is going to do that. I feel this team will be better equipped to play more complete games on the road. Okay? And I truly do believe it. I truly do believe it. Okay? Let's see. Odds at LSU averages 40 points per game this season. I'll say this, James. I think they'll top 40 points. But averaging that many points is difficult. Also, points are very random. I think the number that you want to look for going into this next season with the LSU offense, championship teams versus Power 5 competition averages 6.2 yards per play. Okay, that's about where a championship team is normally at, 6.2 yards per play. Last year, we finished just under 6, around 5.9 yards per play. And I feel like we could get over that 6 mark, right? Now, those numbers are a little bit inflated because of the Purdue blowout, but still, I feel like we can get over 6, right? I think we had 4 Power 5 games where we got over 6. Georgia, Purdue, obviously the Florida game, and there was one more. I could go pull it up and look at it real quick. So there you go. There he is, the legend. Don't forget, every Monday night, AYS, y'all better be there. 7:30 Central every Monday. If y'all aren't there, we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight. Let's see. We got a few arguments. Looking at the pointless coaches of the top 10, who do you think is too high and who is too low? Why? Now, what do you mean, Danny Girl? Thanks again for the super chat. What do you mean by the pointless coaches? Let's see. Let me see if there's something I'm missing. I can Google it real quick. The coaches poll. Okay. Oh, the pointless coaches poll. All right, let's pull it up. All right. So let's do it. Danny wants to talk general teams. We'll do that. Once again, some of you flow in here, and I've seen a few Bryce Underwood questions fly in here. We'll get back into Bryce Underwood a little bit later. Pause. We started the live stream talking about that. So if you super chat, I'll go right back to it, but I want to focus on this one. And I know a few of you want me to go over what I said about Ashton Stamps a little bit earlier. We can happily do that as well. Now, taking a look at the pointless coaches poll. It is very pointless. Now, this was a message I received from someone, and he said, well, I like the coaches poll better because the coaches do the polling, and that's not true. Just a little FYI, the coaches don't do this. Coaches are more worried about recruiting and getting their teams ready. Coaches' assistants do the coaches poll, right? And then they'll probably put it on the coach's desk and they'll just stamp it and they'll look over it and so on. Now, who do I feel is overrated in the top 10? I'll start with Alabama, right? You cannot, and I'm looking at whoever you are out there, you just cannot not have a quarterback picked out just yet, have a new OC and a new DC. And by the way, even though it was still a very good season, you're coming off the worst season under Nick Saban. And I know the games that they lost were as close as they potentially could be, but they played a lot of close games in which they won. All right? So, the truth here is, well, let's be honest. Of the top 10 teams, I would say Alabama's a little overrated here. Now, of course, they can win the national championship. Every single year with their blue chip ratio. But I'm out at them at number 3. I also feel Clemson is overrated as well. This was a team who offensively just sputtered quite a bit last year. Remember, they won a lot of their games with their great defensive line. Miles Murphy is gone. Brian Breesy's gone. I felt like their offensive line play hasn't been the absolute best in recent years. Now, I will say, a few years ago, there was a wide receiver by the name of Adam Randall coming out of high school. I loved him. I really, really, really did. And he could be the breakout star next year. Cade Klubnik was also my number 1 quarterback in that class a few years ago. But I'm telling you, when you watch them, something just feels off. It looks like they play a little prehistoric, a little clunky, maybe a little bit more of a modern day Les Miles situation, but not quite as severe. So I think Alabama and Clemson's brand name, obviously in their really good recruiting rankings, have them where they are right now. And I do think that they are very much overvalued and overrated. Now, I feel like out of all the teams here, the team that is under by far the most pressure is Michigan, and nobody comes close. Alabama's not under any pressure. Georgia's not under any pressure. Now, Ryan Day is under pressure to beat Michigan again and finally win the national championship. But Michigan themselves, at least with Ryan Day, he could say, I've won a playoff game. Michigan loses all their bowl games, and every year they got to worry about a coach who might want to go to the NFL. And then on top of that, this is a team who is dealing with an off-the-field controversy where he was supposed to be suspended for the first 4 games. Now he's not being suspended. And maybe this entire season is for naught, and they will have to relinquish any national championship that they could potentially win this season. Let's see. I want to put somebody on timeout. Second time James is putting me down, telling me my mugs are ugly, and then he also tells me that I need to stop doing this or that. Man, last time I checked, I think this YouTube channel has my name on it. I don't know. He might get a timeout. We'll see. What's up, Mason? Good to see you. Yeah, football season's almost here. Good to see you. So, Danny, I'm going to go with Alabama and Clemson. God, I'm still hurt. Like, my mugs, I spent a lot of time designing those mugs. A lot of time. I got the best mug designer on the planet to design those mugs for me. But not a single person has got a mug. Not a single one. No. Earlier you said your mugs are trash. Throw them in an erupting volcano. That is exactly what you said. I love it. I freaking love it. Smitty wants a mug. That's my kind of guy right there. Get you a shirt while you're at it. Get that shirt while you're at it. PowerHourLSU.com/shop. Mason, I'm coming to the Arkansas game, and I'll happily come to your tailgate. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at PowerHourLSU. Hit me up. But coffee isn't just the only mug thing. There's plenty of other ones. Trania, good to see you. Aaron Anderson starting kick and punt return. I believe so. But more so, you want him on punt return, right? There you go, Smitty. I like that. I do. Now, here's what I want to get into next. I want to chat offensive line. Okay. I feel. Okay. We'll talk more about this tomorrow on AYS because we always talk offensive line play. Because obviously Blake played college offensive line, and I am a defensive lineman. Didn't play in college, but it's my favorite position. So I love talking trenches. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Okay. Now, obviously Will Campbell can play. Emory Jones is really good too. Okay. Now, what I will say is I still think Emory Jones is a guard. I do. But he is still the highest rated offensive lineman and the highest rated offensive player I had in the last class. Okay. So we know those two can play. I feel as if the middle of the LSU offensive line is going to decide a lot of games for LSU this season. I felt like last year that there were some times where we gave up a little too much pressure up the middle. Okay. The next thing I will say is I think Emory Jones's explosiveness at guard would give us a guy who could mow people down like crazy. Now, do I like offensive tackle for Emory Jones? Yeah, I do. I also think something else about Emory Jones is I think he grew up a lot during the season. And the one game that I felt is going to make him better. Now, I know each and every one of you probably played sports. Okay. The games that I look back to the most are the ones that I played against someone who was better than me, right? But every way imaginable, the player was better than me. And I felt like last year, Emory Jones grew in the Texas A&M game and in the Georgia game, okay, where you could make a strong case in terms of back-to-back games that LSU has ever played, that we have never had a stretch of Texas A&M's defensive line on the road and then Georgia's defensive line essentially on the road. Okay. So you're dealing with crowd noise and you're dealing with guys who are older than you and are better than you at this point in their careers. And I just feel like that game alone, for not only him, but that entire line, really helped them grow to get to the point where they want to say, hey, we want to win those trench battles. Let's work even harder. And I'm telling you right now, this season's Emory Jones at right tackle, you could at times this year feel like you're watching the best player on our offense. I think this next season he is going to freaking explode, right? Now, once again, I've been higher on consensus with him for a while now. And I feel like this next year, you're going to be like, wow, this could really be something special we're witnessing. We all know Will Campbell's good. We all do. We all do. But I'm telling you right now, when you go up against Jalen Carter, McKinley Jackson, Walter Nolan, freaking the Stackhouse, Steelhouse, whatever his name is for Georgia, when you're going up against these guys, grown men, 5 stars, it helps. And God, I really think Emory Jones is going to be special this year. I really do. I really, really, really do. Everybody, welcome Chris to the channel. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. I love it. Dev is buying the Aaron Anderson hype. Spinny, I do not have a promo code. I wasn't smart enough to figure that out. Walter got himself a PHL mug. And by the way, Walter with the dog photo. I love it. It's good. We mug it up in this thing. Let's go. I love it. Kedrick, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that, man. Let's see this. Let's see. Yeah, I just responded to you. Let's talk about that tomorrow, Black OT. Let's do that. Yeah, lots of things flying in. So Kedrick wants to talk offensive line. Really good stuff. Okay. Let's do it. Make sure I got this right. That's good stuff. Let's do it. Apologies, John. I wanted to make sure I got all the super chats in here. I'll talk some. Let's go to Kedrick. The starting offensive line should be Will Campbell, Mason Lunsford, Charles Turner, Emory Jones, Hurd. Right guard, right tackle. I don't know. I think Miles Frazier's got to be out there, but what I would say about this lineup though, Kedrick, is, for me, I like Lance a lot. Obviously, his autograph is in the background of pretty much every show that we do. I do also want people to understand that normally the SEC has about 3-ish offensive tackles that are starting as a true freshman. It's hard. It's really hard to start on the offensive line as a true freshman. The main reason is because you don't get a break. Okay, you just don't. You've got to rep out at every single play. Okay, you can even make a case that in that aspect it is potentially harder than quarterback, right? Because sometimes a quarterback just hands it off and that's it, right? It's a hard position. It is a hard position because you got to play every snap, basically, where everything else rotates. There's a rotation at every other position of some type. So I would be open, Kendrick, to this season, us rotating some guys in and out. We did that some in the past. 2011 is a year that I think of. But yeah, I think Joe Moore Award is definitely within the realm of possibility. I feel that goes to the nation's best offensive line. I think it's doable. I do. I will say it's going to be hard to beat Georgia's offensive line this year. Michigan has won it back-to-back seasons, and I felt like at least one of those seasons it should have gone to Georgia. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this lineup. Who, and I'm going to leave it up there because Kendrick did super chat. He's also just a very sharp guy. Who do you agree with this offensive line? I think we all agree Will should be the left tackle, but there's obviously some fluctuations, everything else, for everybody else. So let me know, is there any disagreement you have here? Is there any disagreement? Jay Red, what's up, man? I know you've been doing drill all weekend. I do, Mason. It's gonna be a big season for all Mason. I'm very bullish on Mason, as you guys know. I'm gonna leave it up here. Is there somebody here you disagree with? Right now, I would put the chances of Lance Hurd starting at some point. I would put it at around. I'd give it about a 1 in 3 shot because our offensive tackles are really good. Okay, and we have more certainty there. Last year, we didn't start the right guys. And I feel like this year we're going to have a better group just right off the jump. Let's go here. Do I think Emory Jones will ever return to guard? Well, he's never actually played guard before. Senior year of high school, he was an offensive tackle. I think he played offensive tackle the year before. I'd have to go back and look at his junior tape again. Maybe I'm just missing something there. But yeah, I just think that that's his best position that would just allow him to mow people down, right? But I think he's going to, I just truly do believe he's going to be great this year for us. I do. It's not truly bold, but I do think there's going to be times this year where you're like, God, this guy is truly a difference maker. Okay. Now, I know for sure he was an offensive tackle his final season. I might be missing something, though. So, you know. Jack, good to see you, man. Let me see. Or let me know what you guys think. I'm going to let you guys pick this right here. I never switched back to this. Do you guys prefer the bigger one? I kind of like the bigger one here because I get to see y'all's beautiful faces up close and personal. We'll keep the bigger one up for a little bit. Everybody, welcome Northside Lafayette. What's good, man? 337. Holding it down. Not hearing Denver Harris's name at all. Is that by design? No, he's been very active in practice. It's just been it's just been a mixed bag. So we're getting a lot of Denver Harris questions. Okay. Got one right here. What's up, Jared? Good to see you. I've met Jared before. Now, let's talk about Denver Harris. I felt like the Corey Webster thing could have been the best thing for him, right? To actually hear from an OG, right? Robert Steeples has been very hard on Denver Harris in practice, while at the same time coaching him up. There's a really good clip that I saw of him coaching him up really, really well. Okay. Now, let me be completely honest here with Denver Harris. I really did like him. I really, really, really did like him coming out of North Shore. All right. I really, really, really liked him coming out of Texas A&M. And I thought he was going to come in and be the real deal for us. Okay. He was an all SEC freshman performer last year. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you take full advantage of an all-time LSU legend. And LSU tweeted this out, and they shared the clip of what Corey Webster shared with these room of defensive backs. Now, Corey Webster, of course, made the big play versus Randy Moss in the Super Bowl to beat that undefeated Patriots team, and obviously he's just the 03 national champion. All that.
One of the godfathers of DBU. I asked him to come and observe you guys, so he's gonna put y'all on game, tell y'all what he saw.
DBU wasn't built off of 5 stars and things like that. You have to drop that ego as soon as you came in the door. I wasn't that. I didn't even play the position for that long of a time. I started it my second year here. Y'all not that far off. It's just the little things that's not being able to happen right now because maybe you're not sure exactly what to do or you don't know exactly what the brother left to you, right? Are you doing? Don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed to ask for a little help, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be embarrassed to ask for help. If they don't want to help you, that's on them, right? Whether that's a coach or whether that's your peers, you understand that? But I think y'all there, man. Y'all just got to find that time to check in. Next thing, zero excuses. I hear little excuses going on, man. Everybody is hurting right now. Not just LSU, but all across the country, right? You need to hear nor there. Figure out if you're sore, if you're hurt, or if you're injured. Y'all got to identify that and not lie about it, right? If you're sore, you got to fight through that. You understand that? But don't be, condition yourself to look for an excuse, man, this hurt, that hurt. We need you. Because what happens is if you stop playing, then that put more reps on this guy and more reps on that guy, right? Mental reps. Use them. I don't see us taking advantage of those mental reps. All that walkthrough stuff. That's the time to get your footwork right. Even when you're doing the punt return team. That's the same footwork. Kick slide. That's what you're working, coach. Yes, that's what it look like. But we're not doing that when, coach is not around, right? That's the integrity part of it, right? Take that with you, man. When y'all doing the walkthrough against those guys, as far as the guy that got the red caps on, the managers and stuff like that, treat that as a real rep. Don't be looking for him to brother-in-law you. You know what I mean? Yes, he's supposed to come and give you that work, right? Y'all are world-class athletes, right? So use that as a mental rep. That's a walkthrough period, but use it as a mental rep to do the little things right. Attention to detail. And that's what separates you guys from, the bunch. You know what I mean? Whoever do the little extra. There's a difference between ordinary and extraordinary, right? That little extra in front of ordinary, right? So do the little things better than everybody else, man. I think you guys will be all right, but you're going to have to gel in together, make some sacrifice on your own time to get in that playbook and know it so you can play fast.
Wild. Gary, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Bill Arnsparger, a great LSU coach, said that if a player could play, he could play. He made no excuse for being a freshman and started them successfully. What do I think? Okay. Totally agree. If he could play, he can play. But I do think sometimes, though, Sibley, that there is a little bit of a mental block for some players more than others. I really do believe it. And my view on that changed when I lived in an apartment complex with players. So I was able to get to know some of them. And this obviously didn't apply to this player, but this guy's one of my really good friends. His name is Ron Brooks, right? Ron's been on the channel before. He's a big time supporter of ours. And Ron was just so well put together, and he even had to change positions like Corey Webster, right? And things, he was a really good player for us. And there are some players though where it's all of it is just a transition, right? Where you're so used to just being so much more athletic than everybody. Okay. And let's take, someone like Denver Harris, for instance. The Texas A&M tenure was just bad, right? Like he was an all freshman player, but he missed more games, I felt, than he played. And there was, all these off the field hiccups that just kept happening. And now you're getting another shot at it at a even better university. And you have people in your family that played at LSU, albeit in a different sport. And it's hard. It's still hard. I'm still going to say this, though. It might come back to burn me because obviously Denver Harris, we saw what happened in the spring game, and the camps haven't been the absolute best for him. I think talent eventually wins out, and I think he is going to be a very good player at LSU. Okay? I truly do believe it. Okay? I truly do believe it. Okay? Now, the one thing I'll say is maybe that speech is something that helps him. Right? Now, I'm sure there's other coaches that say practice how you play and all that stuff. But maybe a different perspective does him some good. Right? Maybe it does. Maybe it does someone else in that room some good. Now, I shared this at the beginning. Obviously, that speech was very motivational, and a lot of players will tell you to do this or do that. But Corey Webster gave them a little bit of specificity. He said, your footwork. Go through the reps with your footwork. And even showed them, how to play DB with your feet. It wasn't a big demonstration. But he even said, hey, on punt team, on special teams, do the same freaking thing. Now, once again, I am not a world-class athlete like Corey Webster. I did not make the big play versus Randy Moss in the Super Bowl. But what I can tell you is, one of the biggest changes for me as an athlete was when I started taking, more difficult practice reps. And I actually heard this podcast clip after my playing career was over. Okay. I remember when I went to a Pelicans game and I was listening to a JJ Redick podcast, and JJ Redick shared Steve Nash's, and this is crazy, it's all free. All right. I'm about to share with you Steve Nash's secret to success. Okay. Now, Steve Nash, obviously, multiple-time MVP. I know one of those MVPs was very controversial, but still, he's a 2-time MVP. There's not many people that can say that. Okay. What Steve Nash did was during warm-ups, he never in warm-ups would take a practice standing free throw or a practice standing elbow jumper. When he warmed up every single shot he took was him running to a spot and catching and shooting. And he said that changed his career. Now, of course, he probably did some warm-up jumpers where he was just standing still. But I then started watching JJ Redick warm up when I went to Pelicans games, and by God, he every rep it was him like pretending that he was coming off like a curl or something like that. Okay, it is something, right? So there's something to what Corey Webster is saying. Okay, I know that was a different sport, but my soccer coach changed everything for me when I was coming along, and he made us do that too. Now, obviously, you don't always want to go a gazillion % speed, but it's your steps, all that stuff. What's good? Who Bear in the hizzy? Let's go. It is real reps. Good advice. Once again, let's see. Oh, we're not that far away. We are not that far away. Give out my only Corey Webster autograph card. This could go to one of you tonight. We are 25 away from this Corey Webster card being given out tonight to one of you. Let's see. That just got me so motivated when I watched it earlier. It really did. Now, I will touch on this briefly. The new English Premier League season started today. My dear beloved Liverpool drew 1-1 with Chelsea. That's all I'll say about that. It does feel good that actual sports are being played again. Okay. Saints preseason was today. I know we're LSU football. I know a lot of you watch that Saints game. Game-winning field goal at the end. Are you freaking kidding me? Saints beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Good stuff. Jameis and Derek Carr look good. How about that? Jake Hayner played some too. There you go. I'll talk some Saints preseason a little bit later. I didn't watch all of it, but still. Let me get to another LSU position group here. We've chatted about pretty much every single one of them tonight, but I do want to chat running back here really quickly. Okay, and I lost 20 viewers talking about the Saints. So, God, I didn't know the Who Dat Nation was that hated on here. It might have been the Liverpool thing. It was probably more that than anything else. Right when I bring up my Reds, boom, views tank. That's okay. Let me start by saying this about the running back room. I feel that having 8 in there could do some real damage in the SEC. It very well could. I also feel that Caleb Jackson will emerge at some point. I feel really good about his season this next year. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of growing pains for him playing Division I Power 5 football, a year where, he was hurt all of last season. Trey Holly will get some carries this year as well. But the fact that there's 6 other scholarship backs outside of that, I feel as if the top 3 are going to be very hard to unseat, right? And I feel right now, as good as John Emery was for us last year, even outside of the fumbling thing, I do feel Logan Diggs, Josh Williams, and Noah Cain are the backs to beat. I do. I really, really, really do. Now, I want you right now, everyone in the chat, to give me your one running back that you feel is the guy? Give it to me in the chat right now. Or am I pointing the right way? Should I point this way? Who do you feel will be that guy for LSU this next year? You could have that this year. Go hard or go home. You could have it. Now, Jared says, look, when it comes to fumbling, that is a non-negotiable. Josh. Now, Kyle, I didn't say who would be high on the list. I think right now, Emory could potentially be fourth. He could be on the outside looking in of this situation. I just think Josh Williams, Logan Diggs, and Noah Cain are just on not necessarily a different level. I just think that they're going to get the carries versus Florida State. Okay. Like for me, Armani Goodwin, man, it's going to be so hard for him to get in that mix. It's really going to be hard for him. And the most important thing is the health at this point. So let me know in the chat right now. Let me know. LD88, that's a good question. Will we redshirt some running backs? And how many does LSU redshirt next season? Everybody, welcome Malachi Villian to the channel. What would you say is LSU's biggest weakness? It's a good question. I think most here would say the secondary, but I think right now the biggest question would be the overall depth of the team. King Alyssa says, hoping Emory. Safe play is Diggs. My wild card is Bradford. Vayon. Everybody, welcome Malachi to the channel. Vayon. So Vayon. I like it. Vayon. Welcome to the channel, Vayon. Now, don't forget our live stream schedule. And we'll get into Malachi's question. We always want first timers to feel welcome. Screenshot this and save it on your phone. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, 8:15 p.m. Central. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Central is when we are live. Okay? Now, Danny, don't bring that back up. Because I really do say pecans. I really do. I just heard the Zach Brown song earlier that day. Oh, man. That's so funny. Oh, man. What I'm going to do, Danny, is I'm actually going to go through I'm going to say, hey, how do you say this word? And I am going to be very curious how they actually say those words. We're not going to do the pecan thing tonight. We're just not. We're just not going to do it. Because if we do, a fight's going to break out. I don't want that. Now, we have not checked in on the poll question, in fact, all night long, so let's do it. Which true freshman defender has the biggest year one? Deshaun Womack or Deshaun Womack currently leading the poll. Very interesting. Jamian Toviano, Ashton Stamps, and other. I like a good compromise. Pecan, pecan. I ate me a pecan earlier. Or a pecan. Ate me a pecan. There you go. I love it. Now here's what we're going to do. Okay? In the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. But if you super chat, remember, we are so close to giving out this Corey Webster autograph card to one of you. If you super chat, we'll keep this thing going all night. Okay? We'll keep it going all night. We're close, though. We're close. Now, any LSU football related question, but I'll also talk Saints because this was the first time you saw the Saints. Apparently, I didn't see the second half. Only saw like the first, like early portion. But A.T. Perry, very interesting. I thought that was a good receiver pickup for the Saints. I also think, obviously, the big story is going to be Derek Carr. But I think one of the more fascinating position groups in the NFL this next season is going to be that Saints tight end room. Obviously, Foster Moreau can play. And Taysom Hill. How are they going to use Taysom Hill? So it should be interesting to see how this season actually plays out for the Saints. Now, do I truly do believe the Saints can make a run in the playoffs? I do. I do. Their schedule is relatively easy. Okay. How close are we to the hundo? Roughly $20 super chat. That's good enough. I should get it done. 25 clears it. But 20 will do. Carter, what makes Sage Ryan elite in high school? Because even though he's been hurt, he seems too slow for coverage and too small in space for me. I hope he breaks through. Well, LSU is still putting him out for media responsibilities. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll be okay. I do. Now, will he ever be a great elite Corey Webster type of player? I think obviously the best case scenario for him at this point, Pegasus, is you see him have like a Kerry Vincent type of season, right? I think that very well could be in the realm of possibility. I really do think so. Let's go to Sibley. Carter, how is game day on the Razorback campus? Well, we'll let Jared speak to that. Jared went to the Arkansas game last year. Sibley, I don't think I'm the best person to answer that because, like, when I go, there you go, Skipper, there you go. So we got there. Look, Forbes helped you out. That's good stuff, man. But yeah, I think at this point that would be your best case, like Sage Ryan being like that type of player. Kerry Vincent was a 4.3 track guy, though. True. But Sage Ryan's also really fast as well. That was one of his biggest traits. He might not be Kerry Vincent level speed, but he's pretty fast. But sometimes, and this is the case, thank you, Danny Girl. I appreciate it. Danny Girl, Joshua, Skipper, y'all could pick whichever topic you want. I think for me, sometimes injuries just catch up to you and you're just not the same person. And Sage has been very hurt in his career. Okay. He was hurt his final year of high school ball. He was hurt as a true freshman. He only played 2 games. And obviously, last year he was pretty banged up as well. So, injuries just pile up from time to time. And that stinks. Now, I got to think of a Corey Webster card winner here. That's good, man. C. Webb. I got a good idea who I want to give this to, though. Lawrence says, red beans or white beans? Well, we're 2 hours away from midnight. And midnight means it's Monday. So, of course, throw it down for the red beans. Throwing it down for the red beans, of course. Jared, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Any topic under the sun, it is yours. Let's see. All right. T, Chili, Carson, Danny Girl, Black OT, Jared, Sibley, Jared, Skipper, Joshua. All right. Who am I giving this C-Web card to? I think I have a winner. Obviously, I've sent a ton of cards out recently, but I want to send a card out to someone I don't think has ever actually received one for me, which is truly crazy considering how long he has been rocking with PH to the freaking L. So tonight, I'm going to go with Carson McManus. He is the first ones to drop some big super chats a little bit earlier. But also Carson's been rocking with us for a while now. So Carson, if you're still watching, let me know. If not, I'll get you on the next live stream. So there you go. Congratulations, Carson. That's good stuff. For all my bad picks on Friday night. So I'm glad you brought this up, American Patriot. I did do a fantasy football channel. Okay, so fantasy football YouTube channel. It's obviously a channel that is just made for fun, right? That's all I do it for. I don't expect me to ever become the next great fantasy football analyst, but if you guys want, go over there, hit the subscribe button. Mediocre Fantasy Football. We do picks on Friday night, so we'll do some more drafts on Friday night. Just something to get excited about. And I appreciate each and every one of you that has signed up. Once again, this does not really cost you anything. Underdog Fantasy. All you have to do is sign up, get a $10 deposit, and boom, you get a $10 deposit match. So you have $20 in your Underdog Fantasy account, but you get that deposit match bonus all the way up to $100. UnderdogFantasy.com. Okay? Take advantage of it. Underdog Fantasy, UnderdogFantasy.com. Still, they won't allow it in Louisiana. I don't know exactly why, but they won't. But if you're outside the state of Louisiana, Underdog Fantasy. AP, if you want to talk fantasy, we can do that as well. Any topic you want to get to, we'll get to it. But yeah, we are, later on in the live stream. So I will happily talk anything under the sun regarding these Saints. All right. Here's what I'll say about the New Orleans Saints. They are definitely one of the older teams in the NFL. They are, okay? I feel like they're going to be good this year. And I'm leaning towards the over on their win total because I think the NFC South is going to stink. I do. I'm not buying the Falcons as much as some people are. There's some people really sharp I listen to that are buying the Falcons hype. I like Bryce Young a lot. I do. I think Carolina is going to be good eventually. But, man, the Saints, they look to be pretty good on both sides of the football. And their experience, they got Cam Jordan re-signed. I think Tyrann Mathieu is going to have a good season. I think he's going to bounce back and play really well for us this year. So I think I'm buying some Saints stock. Now, I know I'm a Saints fan, but still. Now, as far as the NFL is concerned, I am a little worried about my Bengals. Now, I say my Bengals. Obviously, Joe and Jamar being there. But, man, I think the AFC North is going to be so just it's going to be ferocious next year. Let's go to AP. Someone stole Carter's pick and he went crazy. He jumped out of his chair screaming. It was worth watching. I've never been more sad. Okay. So as many of you know, I like Odell Beckham Jr. a lot. And with the way my draft was going, all right, Odell's not the absolute best fantasy pick. I highly recommend you don't go to Underdog and just click Odell Beckham Jr. You want to wait for him. But I had a bunch of the Ravens players and I had Lamar Jackson. And with the Underdog Fantasy, you want to stack for the Week 17 stuff. I won't get into all that. But a guy took Odell Beckham and it made no sense for him to take Odell Beckham. So this was a player that I like a lot. At the same time, I needed him for the roster formation. Oh, you want to go to 11 tonight, J-Red? I mean, we can. But that's up to you guys. I don't mind a 3-hour. I really don't. The issue is I don't think you guys can handle a 3-hour. That's the problem. I got to get on my level. Let me ask you this. Yeah, I know, Jared, it's already 11 on the East Coast. Everybody was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Did I say that? Oh, no. I've actually never, like, I think I interviewed Odell like one time way back when, but like, I don't know him at all. But I was like, this is a guy that I've seen play a gazillion times. No, good to see you. We'll see you in the morning, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing with PHL. Maybe I should just become a morning guy. Maybe I should just do a morning PHL. Maybe I should. Maybe that's the missing ingredient. I've always kind of just been a night person, but maybe I need to get up. I get up every morning at 9:15. And get up and do some mornings. Y'all, I mean, hell, y'all all got coffee mugs tonight. Might as well. Let's go. Huh? I love it. I need to go back and listen. Oh my God, I got sniped so hard. Look, Odell might be done. Odell might be done. Okay, Danny, this is kind of funny. So Jules, what's good? Jules is one of our recent card winners. She won my Angel Reese card. I actually have a hard time seeing you as super competitive like that. You were always so chill and laid back. I mean, you love soccer, which ends in a tie, and it's not a game if you are competent. Dang, Danny. Ooh. How dare you talk about the games, or should I say the world's most popular game? Now, here's the funny thing about ties. Ties are good. Ties are good because sometimes one team is not better than the other. You're just even. And sometimes there are sports like soccer that there isn't a good way to determine who actually deserved to win that day. Okay? But what if I told you that European soccer actually does something 10 times better than everything that we are used to in American sports? All right. It is amazing. Like, the worst thing that ever happened to American sports, and it's something that's just always been there, is the is the playoffs. Playoffs are the worst thing that ever happened to American sports. Okay? In soccer, there's really no playoffs. Now, there's some tournaments, but they don't have a postseason. They just play the games. Whoever has the best record at the end of the season, you're the champion. Okay? It's the best way to determine it. But now in American sports, you have all these seasons. And at the end of the year, it's like, wait, guess what? Those games didn't count. The only games that matter are these. Now, of course, Champions League is different, but that's an extra league, right? It's not the actual league who you sign for your club and play for. You know, it's the main thing that you do. But the playoffs are there to make more money off of you because it's more games to sell. So I will highly trade ties for a league that actually values its regular season. And I'm fine with that. Now, of course, I don't like ties. I don't think anyone in soccer really adores ties. But there's not a lot of scoring, and that's just how the game sometimes plays. Wait, so Champions League is like travel baseball, building elite teams to travel and play like other elite teams. So Champions League is something you have to qualify for. Okay. All right. So I'll explain this very briefly because it's the end of the stream. I don't care if we lose a gazillion viewers. That's fine. All right. So the way it works, and this is European leagues. All right. So the biggest difference with soccer and what we do here is our professional sports leagues are monopolies. Okay. The NBA is the only massive professional league. The NFL is the only massive professional league. The MLB is the only massive professional league in this hemisphere, right? In this area. Whereas in Europe, there are 5 different leagues that you could consider is the NBA of soccer, right? You have the EPL, the European England League. You have the German Bundesliga. You have the Italian Serie A. You have the Spanish League, La Liga. And then you also have the French League, okay? So what Champions League is the teams that finish in the top 4 of all those leagues play in a separate tournament-like scenario on top of their normal league the next season, okay? So Champions League is something you have to qualify for from the previous season. But with the Champions League, you're still playing in your natural league. Danny, you have my number. If you want me, I'll call and explain all this tomorrow to you. But it is better. I know it sounds crazy, but it's better. And the the main reason. Oh, AP's like, okay, y'all are talking soccer. I'm out. Huh? That's okay. I'm happy to spread the gospel. If this is how much I love English soccer and just soccer in general. I played the sport. I played travel soccer. I still talk to my soccer teammates every day from high school, every single day. I truly do believe in how they do it. It is like, and more so with the NBA and MLB. Obviously, in the NFL, you would need playoffs because you can't conceivably play. You can't conceivably play every game. You can't play every team in your league. LSU has a women's soccer team. But yes, I freaking. No, Danny, if you ask, it's fine. It was towards the end. But that's fine. You know, as we get closer to the season, I won't veer off into soccer topics. But it did start this year. And you also lived in England, so I'm perfectly happy to explain it to you. We can get on a call tomorrow, and I'll happily break it all down for you. I will say this, though. Mike, I've known for a long time. I wouldn't say I know more about soccer than I do LSU football. I feel like I know a lot, but everything is just so different. Like I don't fully understand some aspects of it, but I see a lot of people get converted. And I'm telling you right now, so I went out and watched an LSU baseball game. And I feel like college baseball is perfectly formatted. I really do think so. But I was watching the LSU baseball game with my buddy Dane, and he's not a soccer guy at all. Hates it. Now he's a baseball guy. And I explained to him, like, it takes a while to explain how it works. And he was radicalized right then and there on the spot about how well it is run. And if we took some of their concepts, and honestly, the biggest thing about soccer leagues over there is the concept of relegation. Now, relegation has been brought up mostly in college football Twitter, but relegation is what makes soccer leagues 10 times better than every other league. And simply put, relegation is if you finish in the bottom three, okay? If you finish in the bottom three, you get relegated to the next professional league, okay? So if you finish 18th, 19th, or 20th, there's 20 teams in every league. You get sent down to the minor leagues, and 3 minor league teams replace you, okay? That move alone in the EPL costs you $100 million because if you get sent down, you lose your share of the television revenue at the major league, okay? So relegation would never happen in American sports because, well, you're giving up money, right? And there would never be a bargaining agreement that anybody would sign in America that would allow that to happen. But relegation is what makes soccer great. Instead, we reward losing in American sports, and we give the best draft picks to the worst losers, okay? To the point where we are benefiting teams that lose, okay? So if you're the Arizona Cardinals, you got a bad roster. You're old. The best thing to do is just lose all your games so you can get Caleb Williams next year. Soccer can't do that. Can't do it. So I'm telling you, you will become radicalized. It is crazy. Now, I share all of this kind of naturally because Danny asked about it, but I share all of this because you hear me preach all the time the college football regular season. We don't want to take that away. Okay? So, I share a quick story. Quick story. It's just very quick. All right. This story will give you a chill down your spine. All right. So, there is a team that was, so in soccer, there's not just one minor league, there's 9 minor leagues. Okay. So, you can work your way up from the bottom rung all the way up until the majors. So, there's a team called Luton in England. Luton. All right. To get in their stadium, this is a small stadium in the middle of England. You have to walk through an apartment complex. Okay, so to get into the stadium, you've got to walk through an apartment complex. You got to walk up some stairs. They work their way all the way up from the bottom 9th division all the way till the top rung. They're in the show next year. Luton is there. Okay. That's how cool it is because you can work your way all the way up from the bottom all the way up. Now, it took them eons to do, but it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, so there's soccer players, the equivalent, like Mohamed Salah is like the equivalent of let's say like Kevin Durant. He's like an all-time great player. He's got to walk through some dudes. He's got to, I don't know. He's got to walk through an apartment complex to get into his, a stadium. I was trying to think of a Baton Rouge apartment complex. He's got to walk through Tiger Manor to get into to get to his dressing room. It's it's crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, read up on relegation and you will be radicalized. You'll be like, wow, holy crap. We don't reward tanking. So Danny Girl says, I just can't get behind it, Tom. All right. We have ties in the NFL. We do. How much better is a baseball team because you played a game until the 17th or 18th inning? It kind of becomes not the sport by then than the actual sport. Because what has Major League Baseball done? Well, they now starting to put a runner on second base. Simply asked an LSU question. If you have another soccer question, I don't mind. Now, full disclosure, I won't do any of these rants until next offseason. Okay. Now, if I get super chatted a bunch of money to talk EPL, I'll do it. But still, I won't do another rant about this. It'll be mostly football, some NFL, that kind of stuff. But I share all this because the season's just started, and you will. I'm telling you, I am telling you, man. It is the first time you drink a McDonald's Sprite level of radicalization. You think about the first time. Think about the first time you ever bit into a piece of boudin. That is what learning about this stuff actually matters. Okay, it will make you rethink everything you know about how professional sports leagues are ran. It's a good super chat here from Gray. Just jumping on. Commitments from a junior in high school, especially in college football's landscape, means absolutely nothing to him. Let me know when he enrolls. Okay. Great super chat. Absolutely great super chat. Because you're not the only one that feels this way, Grant. And I won't single them out, but there are some people in here who have no interest in college football recruiting at all. Now, full disclosure, I do this full time. Okay. So part of what I do on this channel is recruiting coverage. And recruiting coverage is what people want to see. It's just what the analytics do, what they tell me. Okay. Now, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to do as much recruiting coverage as I do. I like it, but it's not my favorite thing. For some people, it is. Okay. Now, why is DAKORIEN more different? Okay. What makes this one very different is this could lead LSU to the 8th highest ranked recruit at the quarterback position ever in Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood is a quarterback. Quarterbacks commit early, okay? So that is a huge reason, right? I spent half of the DAKORIEN Moore film study talking about Bryce Underwood. Also, DAKORIEN Moore is really freaking good. Part of why it also excited me, Grant, was when I first started watching Caden Durham tape earlier this season, I was like, dang, who is number 4? I didn't know he was a 5-star then. I was like, God, this guy's kind of good. And voila, he's a 5-star receiver. So I had kind of already started growing on him. And I was like, God, this guy's a beast. And I looked him up. I was like, okay, this guy can really be something. But Grant, I don't think you are more so making the super chat just for the sake of making a super chat. I think you were just saying in general. In general. Let me know when he enrolls. It is a long time. But this is the 5-star caliber player that normally commits to Alabama or to Georgia. Okay? And this is a sign of things to come. Also, Texas, before yesterday, had more commitments from Duncanville than LSU did. But now LSU has as many as Duncanville or as Texas does. Maybe this swings Colin Simmons back to LSU. All right. But I will say this. I am perfectly fine with you feeling this way. And yes, is it a lot that he's wearing a crown and all that stuff? Yeah, it's a lot. It's not the craziest college football commitment I've seen. It's not. I do think yesterday was monumental, right? I really do. And I also don't do a lot of 2025 recruiting unless you commit, okay? So I do agree with you. It is a long time until then. But this guy is a real deal, and maybe it leads to other things. His son's in 2026 and he's committed to Alabama? Does not make sense to you? Let's go to Chandler. Enrollments also mean nothing. You can get your NLI voided and transfer scot-free anywhere in the country. And I totally understand this, Grant. I totally understand your line of thinking as well. But I also think this, Grant, I think part of what lends itself, what feeds the monster, is how much recruiting coverage you get. Recruiting is very fluid. Recruiting is also very mysterious. And mystery is what sells, okay? It's kind of like sports cards, right? Sports cards that sell for a lot, like, it doesn't make sense, but Joe Burrow cards sell for way more than the rarest Peyton Manning cards. They just do. Justin Herbert cards, even Trey Lance cards. Trey Lance is hot dog water. Sells for more than Peyton Manning cards, some Peyton Manning cards. It's the idea of what could you be instead of what you already have done, right? So DAKORIEN Moore could be the next this. He could be the next that. But I will also say this. DAKORIEN Moore is the 5th highest ranked wide receiver we have ever brought in to LSU. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be great. In fact, the elites of the elitist wide receivers, the best wide receivers at LSU have been in like the middle tier 4-star range. Okay. That's where a good chunk of our success has been. Okay. But anytime you get a player of that caliber, especially one who's well connected, especially one at a high school that produces a lot of talent, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. Okay. And I do think he's really freaking good. I do. Now, it is not our biggest need at all. I mean, LSU is always going to have a lot of wide receivers. But getting someone special at any position is a big deal. And I do think he is very good. Now, go back and look at some of our other recruiting videos. And especially if you're a member of the Patreon, I do go a little bit deeper into my breakdowns on Patreon. And you get how I truly feel about a player, because the breakdowns and analysis is just deeper there. So sign up now. I got another one coming out tomorrow. So check it out. Now, in the next few minutes, I'll answer as many super chats as we possibly can. Since you're on more, is Bryce Underwood really like that? Yes. 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 The ball he the ball he throws is so freaking good. He throws a very good ball. And like the zone read stuff we could do with him is just crazy. Like, it's ridiculous. He is obscenely gifted. So, yeah. But I think McIntyre's really good too. We probably have a better shot to get Bryce Underwood though. So yeah. If you get too many 5-stars, it has to be a headache to manage him. I'm sure they all demand playing time. Yeah, I mean, we've had 5-stars that we've struggled with, and them getting complacent or whatever the case may be. But my retort to that would be Bama and Georgia has had no problem managing them. Okay. And the thing is, if you get a high volume of 5 stars, then you basically have a team full of them, right? They're not as unique as they would be if they go to a different school. He's looked really good. Someone texted me at the practice Saturday that was the best that they had seen Jaden in practice. Now, once again, I'm not just gassing him up just to gas him up. I would never do that to you. But I truly do feel it. I do. Now, like I always say with my analysis, is sometimes it's a fan in me, sometimes just speaking that player into existence, being something great. Yeah, the fan in me could sometimes say, could sometimes talk myself into that, the best version of whatever that player could be. But I truly do believe Jaden's going to be a good player for us. He might not be transcendent, but I think he's going to be very good. Heck, he was very good last year. So there you go. Now, here's what you're going to do. I will be chatting in the Discord. So check it out, patreon.com/LSU football. We will be chilling in the Discord. We'll have another Patreon breakdown tomorrow. And big shout out to our big winner tonight, Carson. I think he went to bed, so we'll let Carson know he won our Corey Webster card. Thanks to all our super chatters, Chili, Black OT, Danny Girl, Kedrick, Jared, Sibley, Skipper getting us over the century mark. AP Yenny, good stuff. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. And tonight we are doing homemade chicken enchiladas. Let's go.